The script for the following video was mainly written by Geraldo Russell, aka Rasputin of Boss Gaming. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Brothers of Steel, and we'll be looking at the 5 things we want to see in Breath of the Wild 2, especially on the heels of the Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary on the horizon. Breath of the Wild 2 is on the lips of everyone's tongue. You can taste it, and we're gonna jump right into it right here on the Brothers of Steel. It has almost been 4 long stinking years since Nintendo dropped Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Nintendo Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. It has also been 4 years since the DLC came out, and even though Nintendo gave us a prequel with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, we have been hoping for a sequel since 2017.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
So however long it has been, it is always hard to make a sequel that lives up to the original. There are many ways in which a game can flop, and we have seen this in sequels like Battlefront 2. In spite of the potential failure that may come with the sequel, there are 5 things that we hope can be implemented within the new upcoming Breath of the Wild 2. First things first, let's talk about the optimization. We really do hope that this is fully optimized for the Switch. No matter how great Breath of the Wild was, it was by no means perfect. It had its fair share of drop rates and questionable graphics at certain locations. This, we hope, was as a result of it being made for the Wii U and being ported over into the Switch. Don't get me wrong, at the time the game looked great. However, watching newer games like Super Mario Odyssey along with the trailers for the new release of Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, one can't help but notice how underutilized the Switch was used for Breath of the Wild. Even though Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild are years apart, the difference between the two appears not to be merely years apart, but more like console generations apart. Another feature that we pray that they implement is the ability to forge weapons. I love the lack of weapon durability. I just loved it, because it forced us to play with every weapon in the game, thus preventing us from going on a repetitive gameplay, which, although frustrating, made the game interesting. Now we look forward to that again. But let's be real, wouldn't you rather go looking for actual weapons that might be low grade most of the times, or farm for materials to forge your own weapons and armor? If you're like me, you prefer the latter of the two. Though farming materials in any game can be tedious and boring at times, except for Monster Hunter, it's still a better alternative in my opinion than just running around looking for just the right weapon, especially when durability is a feature. Another feature that is a must is to make Princess Zelda a playable character.
Hold up. Oh, hell no!
Like, why not?
He's figured out how to get it to move. However, it's apparent that we still have much more to learn.
She is definitely not your average I'm here to be saved princess. I mean, she's got the goods. In past Zelda games, Princess Zelda has disguised herself as Shriek, and Shriek is a total So why not? Why not make her a playable character? I mean, it can be argued that she's more powerful than Link, given that she held off Ganon for like 100 years while Link was sleeping and he just showed up to deliver the final death blow. We can have interchangeable characters between her and Link. I mean, we could have a full-blown party system here, guys. She doesn't appear to be much of a swordsman, but she definitely could be like the mage in the party. Her magical powers could potentially introduce a brand new way to play the game, or even just Link alternatives. Link has the bow and arrow, and Zelda has the light arrows. Link has the sword, and Zelda can use short-range magic. Both characters will have access to bombs and powers like stasis, which can be used between each character. The more you look at it, the more it makes sense. It makes sense to interchange between Link and Zelda, so players can have that pick of whichever Hyrulean warrior they want to control throughout the game's adventure. I mean, the game is called The Legend of Zelda after all, so it's about time Zelda got more of a direct involvement. Oh, hell yeah. Now this leads to another vital aspiration I'm really hoping for. Why stop at single player interchangeable characters? Why not have a co-op game? Is that too much of a stretch? I don't know. I mean, not like fully multiplayer like Hyrule Warriors, but more like a two-player co-op, a lot like other Nintendo games like Luigi Mansion or Mario Odyssey, where you give that option to have a two-player co-op within the interaction in the game. Last but not least, let's get into the dungeons. One of the biggest complaints about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was that the dungeons were too short, too samey and too few. Sure, we got some shrines and puzzles, but they didn't substitute for the large, sprawling dungeons of past Zelda games. And while the Divine Beasts were interesting, yeah, they were interesting, their appearances and mechanics inside were very similar and didn't quite satisfy that main Zelda need to have a complex dungeon. A second Breath of the Wild game would be a perfect opportunity to develop things dungeon-wise. It doesn't make much sense lore-wise for the Divine Beasts to come back. Therefore, a new Zelda game will need a new reason to have new dungeons. The trailer seems to take place underground anyways, and that could be an area we did not know about before, so there could always be more secrets under the earth, and hence a reason to have massive dungeons again. So that's it in a nutshell. These are some of the features we hope to see in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 when it's finally released. Hopefully Nintendo will give us some more information and hopefully a release date. And if you have any ideas of what should be implemented in the next installment, please post it in the comments below. This has been yours truly, Maximus of the Brothers of Steel. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like on our Facebook page, and as always, share up the love.